people fascists or saying trans rights. This gentleman said nobody wants to talk to me, yet he wants to interrupt the report.
Don't talk to these people. That's Drea from Rebel News. She's a propaganda.
I'm not hiding who I am. Like, do you want me to wear a name tag so you don't have to introduce me every time? Can I interview you? Can I ask why you protest something if you don't want what you're protesting to be heard? I'm not listening to you. Or do you want people to change their mind, or you just want to yell at people? Like, what is the cause? What's the purpose of yelling at people if you don't want to try to convince them to change?
Transgenderism's not an opinion.
We are against stupidity. We are against stupidity. We are against tyranny. We care about your lives. We care about your family. We care about your freedom. We care about this country. We care about this nation. We care about the world. We care about upcoming generation. What do you care about? What do you care about? This is what my question is.
Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News. I'm standing on Scott Road and 72nd Ave to bring you a second report on the protest against the sexualization of kids in BC school. This protest is put on by the Freedom Party of British Columbia. It had a small turnout today. I believe it's the beginning of Ramadan. That's why I'm hearing there's a little less people. But you know who did show up? Antifa or Antifa wannabes. You tell me. And so to bring you this report, of course, those of you who have been following my coverage on this topic know that sometimes people who come to counter-protest these events are quite violent. And that's why I have 2 bodyguards here to keep me safe. And that is only possible with the help of the public. The small amount of you that come together to make sure Rebel News reporters are safe when we have our boots on the ground. You guys go to journalistdefensefund.com. So if you can open up another device and go there now, I would be very appreciative, as will all of my colleagues. Now, let's see what happens during this protest.
This is how we make things better. We talk to each other. And you guys, I tried to get to know you, and you won't even. I came to say hello, and right away I'm a fascist. Why do I suck? You don't even know me. I'm hateful? Yeah. I'm hateful? Yeah. Do you see me around here telling people off fascists? You're a fascist. You saw me come and do that?
We just want to talk about our agenda, which is to stand up for children's rights. And they also need to know that all human beings have equal rights. But this has nothing to do with showing a 6-year-old kindergarten student a nude picture of male having sex with male, encouraging them to change their sex, showing them drag queen shows which are semi-naked women, accepting money from children.
What they're doing in schools, those books disguised under Soji are actually, much dangerous than Soji itself. Because what they're doing is putting all those books. It's pornography, against children. It's really like for pedophiles, and they have put those books in children's school libraries, and slowly they're going to put it in the syllabus as well. And a lot of the parents have not even seen those books. So I strongly recommend going at exposingsoji123.com, go under books, look at those books. You will be shocked. You will be shocked what kind of books they have put in little children's schools.
You're fully covered. It's not like we know who you are.
I'm not giving you the...
Don't talk to these people. That's Drea from Rebel News. She's a propaganda.
I'm not hiding who I am. Like, do you want me to wear a name tag so you don't have to introduce me every time? Can I interview you? Can I ask why you protest something if you don't want what you're protesting to be heard? I'm not listening to you. Or do you want people to change their mind, or you just want to yell at people? Like, what is the cause? What's the purpose of yelling at people if you don't want to try to convince them to change?
Transgenderism's not an opinion.
People are suggesting you would be good to talk to. Maybe you'll have a rational conversation. I don't think that matters, but why not? If you fight fascism, that means you want opinions to be heard, right? So we're the largest independent media in Canada. Wouldn't you want your opinion to be heard? Maybe some people can resonate with what you're here for.
People listening to you don't want to listen.
What do you think the people listening to me, who do you think they are?
I'm not engaging with you. I'm not
Okay, well, I was talking to this gentleman, or sorry if I misgendered, I don't know. But I just think it would be better to find common ground than it would to just scream at each other. You've made yourself clear. Can I ask if you guys have seen the books that they're protesting? Have you actually seen what's in the books? Do you think they're appropriate for kids?
I think there's
Do you guys have kids?
Transgenderism is a fact.
But do you think it makes you a bigot or a fascist to think that kids shouldn't look at sexual acts in school?
I think if I had the things that kids are having right now in elementary school, I would have had a lot easier life because I am trans.
Not a fact for the children.
But my question was, do you think it makes you a bigot or a fascist to not want your kids to look at sexual acts in school?
I don't think the things in those books are sexual acts.
I don't think you've seen them then, because that's what they are. That's what they're protesting.
There's a big difference between sexual acts and sex education.
They're not showing kids the Kama Sutra.
Pierre, can you show the content of the books?
That's one of them.
So do you think it makes them a bigot to not want their kids to see that in school? You do? My question is, okay, so you feel one way, you feel the other way, but do you believe it makes you a fascist bigot to say you don't want kids seeing that? That's my question. Not whether or not you think it should be there or not, but why is there so much hate against people who say, you know what, let's let kids learn about math and science, and you know what, the sexual orientation that we had before was fine. We've had sexual orientation in school for years, so
Yeah, it wasn't
right, you're
didn't have enough in it.
okay, I agree. So,
Yeah.
But for people who say those images should not be seen in school, there's other ways you can teach kids about transgenderism and equality. You don't have to show them that. Why are those people being called fascists and bigots?
I don't think that's the important part of the argument. So
That's what they're protesting. All right, so you saw a little bit of there. I got pulled away because there was some police action, but there was a little bit of dialogue there. And at first, the two who were talking did not believe that sexual acts were being shown in school. Pierre, in case you didn't catch it, showed that there were, and still the one person said, oh, it's okay. But the point is, again, we're seeing that they don't really understand what they're coming here to counter-protest. I should say that the RCMP in Surrey are doing an amazing job today at keeping the peace and really focused on the agitators at the event. So that's good to see, unlike the Coquitlam RCMP when drag queen Connie Smudge was in the house.
Let's say in our side, we're always willing to talk to them. Fascists don't want to talk to people. They want to impose the rules and the laws and all the things, right? Exactly the school board are doing right now. School board are acting like fascists because they want to silence people. And people are acting like fascists because without silencing people, they will never be able to push their own ideology because the ideology doesn't make any sense. So that's why the school board doesn't want anyone to talk, because when people talk, people wake up. The truth wake up people, so that's why they silence people. That's why there is fascists that try to silence every word we say today by yelling. They don't want other people to hear what we have to say. That's what they do. They are the fascists.
I am here both for our youth and as someone who believes that trans rights should be protected, but I also am someone who is going in for top surgery, and I think that our youth shouldn't be pushed into this, as well as how people don't like our youth being pushed into Christianity or being pushed into church and having religion pushed on them. I think it's all the same thing, and I agree with both sides equally. And I just think tensions are really high, and everybody just needs to chill out a little bit.
Since you're talking, and I really appreciate that, may I ask you what's your thoughts on like drag queen story times and people who protest those events?
Yeah, I don't agree with the drag queen story times. I really think that our youth shouldn't be forced into seeing that, but at the same time, drag queens should be able to have their fun, you know, in adult spaces, but adult spaces are adult spaces for a reason.
Now, you were up there, you kind of started the protest by singing the national anthem, something many Canadians, you know, respect. And that's when the counter-protesters picked up with the shouting. What were your thoughts? What was going through your head while you were singing that?
Yeah, so it's definitely really weird, trying to sing what you love in your country and supporting it, and all I could hear was them yelling what they're yelling, which I'm not going to repeat, but it was definitely, I thought, very rude, because when we come to all of these, we try to spread information and love and what we can, and it just felt like they were spreading as much hate as possible, and I honestly believe there are 3 different groups here today.
So I've done my best to try to talk to some people to see if they could articulate their cause beyond calling people fascists or saying trans rights. This gentleman said nobody wants to talk to me, yet he wants to interrupt the report. I mean, we see this over and over and over. It seems that there's a disconnect between what the people who come out think they're protesting and what is actually happening. There was a call for counter-protesters to come here and fight fascists. The call was put out by Community Against Convoys. And so this is what's happening. People are recruited for a cause, and I don't really think they take the time to know what that cause is. If you appreciate that Rebel News brings you the other side of the story to the state-backed media that won't even show you what is inside of the books that the people here came to protest, then consider helping to keep us safe while we do so by donating what you can at journalistdefensefund.com. We appreciate your support.